I am live. I'm getting my guitar. It's going to turn out to be helpful. And I am going to go post the link on our page. So if you are watching the repeat of this, which obviously you are, you can fast forward a minute, fast forward 2 minutes, and then we'll get started. I got to go get logged in and set the link here. Link. Link will appear. Link to join. Okay, hit edit page. DenverGuitarOrchestra.com. That's where all of the resources are. That's where you should go to pick up the stuff we're going to work on today. And I obviously forgot to take off yesterday, so people are right now going to the wrong window. That's okay. They'll figure it out. Then do highlight, link, enter, edit, settings, open a new window, update, cut, update, wait patiently for it to refresh, hit view page, so we'll scroll down, hit the link, make sure it's going to where it's supposed to go. Didn't have my nice Gary. And then we're going to go to grab lesson archive and paste last night's link on there. Edit page. Paste. Return. Highlight. This is green, and the night class is going green. How sophisticated I am. Orange for days, greens for nights. I don't know if that makes any sense. Hey, Vic. Welcome in, and make sure this other website is shut down. And here we go. Okay, beautiful. Everybody should be back to normal now. And I'm just now noticing I need to shave. Sorry. I have a guy working on the bathroom today. The pipes failed, and the association pipes failed, so they replaced those earlier in the week. And then the guy came to, John came to patch up the bathroom today. And of course, there's all this chaos going on, and so I didn't get my day quite as. It didn't quite go the way I thought it was going to go. Evelyn, you're back on with your real name tag now. All right, look at us. Let's see. We need to get some songs going here today, right? I'm gonna push this down just a little bit so I can get my hands a little more in there. There we go. And let me put this to sleep. We don't need to be messing with that. I was looking at Twitter. One of the things that I've been doing is, this is free every day. And so I'm like, well, if it's going to be free, I want as many people to come as possible. And so I've been looking at marketing, like, hey, let's get some people who come and see and do this thing. And so Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, which are the three things in life I have no interest in doing, but I've been studying up on what I'm supposed to do there. We have 3 songs we're going to knock out today, and 4 songs, and I would like to play them just in the same order we've been playing them all week. Only the nice part is on Friday, I don't talk, right? We just play the music, make it as beautiful as we can. I don't do any of those. I know, Vic, here's what happens. Here's me. One of the early adopters of Facebook. Facebook was awesome. And then all of my friends here in town decided they needed to be on Facebook, which is about a year after I was on it. And then they're all signing up to be my friend. And pretty soon it's not fun anymore, right? It's like, might as well just go hang out with them rather than, post a picture of me eating my lunch. So I stopped doing Facebook. Then I went to Twitter. I don't know anybody on Twitter. It was delightful. You get to go around and meet people and do things. And then here, as soon as the president got elected, and he's a tweeting crazy person, right? So he's tweeting. So everybody figures they need to be on Twitter. They all go on Twitter. They use their do you know any of these people? And so now they're all my friends over there. So now Twitter's not any fun. and I never did do Instagram. Instagram I always thought was sort of for iPhones, and I have an Android, and it just, I don't know, it just didn't have any appeal to me. But so now I'm doing all three of them again. Not really doing them. I'm just using it to post information about what we're doing here for music, and of course. That's not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to be involved with your community on there, and looks to me like a giant time suck is what it looks like. But I'm trying to do a little bit more than I have done in the past. All right, Three Blind Mice, right? Is that the one we're doing? That's the one we're doing. Three Blind Mice. Mary Had a Little Lamb. Plaisir d'Amour, and then we will do Remember Me. So hopefully today we just played. I found you in Ukulele Magazine. Yeah, that's something I mentioned that before. I'm going to have to actually call them and start putting an ad in there. They came along much after I had been pretty heavily involved in ukulele and kind of had my thing going. And, I was delighted to see a more serious magazine come around and just be an established thing where, music stores and stuff would carry them, but I never got involved with them at all. And the one thing I have figured out is they're not going to be calling me, right? You got to be those kind of places. You got to reach out to them, and that's just not my style. I just want to do a great job at what I do, and hopefully that's good enough. But in the modern world, that's not enough. You actually have to also then do all this stuff, and I don't know. It's okay. It's fine. I'm not against it. I get it. I understand how the world works. But they listed. Yeah, they were very kind. Somebody sent me a link and said, "Hey, Gary, you need to get your classes on here." So I sent that. I filled out the little form and sent it back to them. They put me right up on that website right away, and no questions asked. And so it was very kind of them, since I have not participated with them in a more meaningful sense. And so I'm delighted that some of you guys were able to find me through that. And you're not the only one, Vic. A bunch of folks did. So, all right, Three Blind Mice. Let's play it. Right? Here we go. One, any way you want. Chords, melody, chords and melody, any way you want. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play it one more time. I could do better from the top. Ready, go. It's surprisingly pretty, right? It's surprisingly a nice tune, and it's hard to play. I think I'm going to talk about. I feel like when I play it, it's like, man, this is an awful lot of work, but it also sounds nice. It's got a nice melody to it, and if you get those G chords ringing underneath it, just let them ring and really try to hold on tight up here. you end up with kind of a pretty interesting little interaction there. So yeah. All right, Three Blind Mice. What are you going to do? How much better can life get than that? Not so much for the mice, right? That doesn't go so well for the mice in that tune. And frankly, honestly, the farmer's wife is going to have some serious soul searching to do after such a violent incident, and we need to think of her as well. I don't think necessarily it was good for her soul to be chasing mice around and cutting their tails off with a carving knife. Just doesn't seem like the right way to live your life. All right, Mary Had a Little Lamb. This is how you live your life. You take the goats, or what are they? The lambs. Duh. You take the lambs to school, right? Everybody's rocks out. It's very fun. Also note, I did put on here the second. We never talk about lyrics in these classes, but we should. The second set of lyrics are a little less annoying. Merrily we roll along, roll along, roll along. Merrily we roll along, o'er the deep blue sea. And so I think if you want to call it Merrily We Roll Along instead of Mary Had a Little Lamb, people don't know that it's the same song. And so you can sound like you're maybe playing something a little fancier than you are if you tell them it's going to be Mary Had a Little Lamb, their expectations, right? And remember, D chords and A chords in the first half of the song, A chords and E chords in the second half of the song. Be thinking about if you're going to be if you're a singer, you're adding in those arpeggio patterns. If you're not a singer, obviously you want to work on the melody line. That's where that's what allows you to not sing. And so really being a lead guitarist is important. Okay, I'm going to play it through twice, just as written. So we're going to go all the way down to the end of the song. Get my little foot pedal going. 16, come back and play it a second time. I'm going to play Tough You both times, but one time I'm going to use my thumb down, and the second time I'm going to use this claw. I keep talking about that a lot because it's one thing that separates us from classical music. When we play classical guitar, it is pretty much the claw all of the time. Now, it's not 1,000%, right? But it's a lot. It's 98% time that you're going to be doing the claw, and then occasionally dropping in a strum. But for the most part, in classical guitar, we're very focused in on the claw. And in folk music, we're very much focused in on just strumming. So between those two places is this really lovely place called fingerstyle guitar, which is what we work on around here, where we take the best of classical, the best of folk, if there is a best of folk, and then we put those together. Some of the stuff we do, some of the ideas that we get also comes from country music, where they do an awful lot of arpeggio work. And so it also comes from, we also borrow from that. So the nice part about fingerstyle as it's developing in the modern times is we're just borrowing from all these other styles of guitar, the good stuff. We take the good stuff and we put it on an acoustic guitar for the most part. You can play it on electric guitar if you want, but we're just trying to create a sense of, hey, I want all these tools, whatever those guys, that's a good idea. We're going to borrow some of those and we're going to take some of that, we're going to put it here. And so again, I think just studying each piece of music, seeing how many different ways you can play it, it's always quite an enjoyable activity to create your version, the version that you're going to play for the rest of your life on a guitar. So it might not be Mary Had a Little Lamb, it's maybe not the best song to do, but there's a ton of cool tools to learn on here. I'm going to play the tough axe both times. The first time I'm going to play it with my thumb. Second time I'm going to play it with my claw. Okay? And you do whatever you want. 1, 2, 3, 4. top. Okay. Key changes, right? Key changes come up in music all the time. Key changes and temp and time signature changes come up all of the time in music. In fact, in Remember Me today, we have a time signature. Necessarily recognize it as that, but they definitely know something's going on in that piece of music, and it's not necessarily cheating, but it's a good way to create a different feeling with the song. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but try, I like to teach that, especially on these 2-chord songs where you can play them. I was hoping it would go away, and it didn't. I was hoping, I like on those 2-chord songs, hey, I'm going to play it in this key, then I'm going to switch the key and just see how it affects the song. And it's often interesting how much on a guitar, especially, that will change your approach to the song almost completely based on what the shapes look like on your fretboard. All right, Plaisir d'Amour, which is really Can't Help Falling in Love with You without the words, so that we don't have to worry about Elvis, the ghost of Elvis, coming and telling us we owe him copyright. I don't think they're enforcing copyright on this anyway. It was iffy at best if he owned the song. Big thing to remember: these triplets, guys. This is something as musicians, especially if you're a newer musician, to really try to get right. Amanda major 6, you'll see da 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 dum, right? We want to make that end of major 6 really push our way through, get a little louder, really 0 2 3 2, right? And don't delay between getting from 3 to 2. 0 2 3 2. Okay, you'll reduce the energy there, but you won't reduce the speed. So you're going to rush right through that triplet, and you'll see and feel it as it comes up. Hey, this is the point where I really need to put a little bit more speed and energy to it. And when you get really good at triplets, you sound really professional. Triplets don't show up in beginner music all that much. They show up in more advanced music, and they're there because they sound awesome. And so be focused in when we get to major 6, and then again shows up again at measure 19. So just make sure you're ready for those. And then, of course, remember measures 9, 10, and 11 are identical, right? So make sure you just get measure 9 down. Don't play it like that, but that's the idea. Just get it where you really got this sucker down. And then you drop in there and you can count on it every time. Then just repeat it 3 times in a row. Okay. I'm going to play it as written. Okay. So we'll play 1 through 8, go back to the beginning, play that again, then play the center section, and then play out to the end. So play 1 through 8, go back to the top, play to the end. All right. And again, you pick your line. You want to play melody, you want to play chords. And I did get an email yesterday. Somebody said that I'm not ready for level 4. And I don't think that's true. I don't think you're ready for tough acts at level 4 necessarily. But I bet you can play the melody, right? And so if you get to a sticking point in the program, you're like, okay, I'm going to go play with Gary. I'm really level 1. I'm working on 3 blind mice. It's going great. I'm trying to get that darn tough axe to work for me a little bit. Don't focus in overly on that, because that's at the end of the day, that's going to come along. I'm not worried about tough axe. I am worried about Can you get the single line melody, one note at a time, pretty out of your guitar? And that's what separates you from regular guitar, is that in regular guitar, wise men say only fools rush in. That's what they do, right? Whatever. That's for singers. It's great. It's beautiful. But what separates the lead guitarist or the instrumentalist is now that's winning right there. That is stilling the music down into just its fundamental element, which is melody. Music has, as you know, four fundamental elements. It's rhythm, super important, melody, chords or harmony, and then timbre. So if we take this song and we play it on a piano, it sounds different than we play it on a guitar or a ukulele or a bassoon or bagpipes. The timbre of what we're doing sounds different. And on guitar, you have lots of timbres. We have a lot of ability to bend notes, play them with metal strings, plastic strings, bend them a little bit, play the same chord down here versus back here, and they sound different. So we have a lot of control over our tonality and timbre. And again, all that stuff is advanced thinking. It's very complicated, but getting a nice, clean melody line out of that is never not going to be important. And unless you are a hip hop singer, then we get rid of melody and harmony, right? We just have rhythm. But for most of us, we're going to be playing a melody instrument, and then we'll be adding in chords when we can. And so, don't think you can't play a level 4 song. You can. You can. You just are going to play the melody for now while your hands are getting the rest of the skill set in place. Okay? All right, that's a little pep. Hopefully that's a little pep talk. All right, from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Isn't that a nice song? That's a nice song. I like that song a lot, right? I could play that song every day forever. It is just so delightful. And that center section is just weird enough and hard enough to give you a real challenge. I got it right on two of the three measures, and it feels good, right? When you hit that sevens, it's like, oh, I like that, right? Just really, really a nice tune. I kind of messed up measure 13 a little bit, but you're going to do that, right? And you're perfectly fine to mess up until you're playing for your master's degree, your final for your master's degree. Then you don't want to mess up. But until then, you can make some mistakes. There's no guitar police. There's guys that think they're guitar police, and you don't have to listen to them. All right, let's go play Remember Me. Remember me. I would like to go through and play the melody one time just to make sure that we know how it goes. And again, to be talking about, hey, I'm not ready for level 4, but I can probably knock out this melody. And so let's try. Let's go through and play that just to think about that in terms of what's good with guitar. And I did want to mention, because I haven't even talked about it, at the end of page 1, you see it goes to 2/4 for one measure. And that's not exactly uncommon. You'll see that in music on a regular basis where, for a measure or two, they need to adjust. They have extra notes in there or something. And it's always in a transitional phase. It's either at the end of the song or it's in this place where there's a transition. And so you get to the end of page 1. I sing a singer song to you each night we are apart. And then there's a nice long note. Remember me, right? And so it's just a transitional moment, and so there's less beats in that particular place. It's not going to happen all the time in music, but it'll happen enough where you need to know what you're dealing with there. Okay, just the melody for me, guys. 1, 2, 3. Page 2. Go back to the top. Page 2. Second ending. Great melody. Is that a lot of music? That's a lot of music. That's gorgeous. All over the fretboard, right? Down here, up here. Oh, got to stay focused. Even that, just that alone takes a lot of work. We talked last night about these chords. These chords are tough, right? And so, if the reason the song itself is very tough is because the chords are very tough. The chords are very tough because they're really after a great depth of beauty in this song. And I would say, yeah, those chords are a bummer, but they're absolutely worth it. And so I would say as you're working through this one, this is a measure by measure situation. I notice as I'm looking through my sheet music here, on almost every measure, I have some sort of fingering suggestion for myself. Hey, you probably ought to use this finger here. You probably ought to use this one there in order to make all of this work properly. And I would say, that you want to be thinking about, make yourself some notes on your paper that was going to make sure that you are successful when it comes time for this moment, right? When we're here, we're all sitting here together, we're all looking right at you, and we're going to say, all right, do what you can do. Okay, so don't let the sheet music just be this very thing you're trying to keep nice and neat and orderly. Sometimes I'll see students put their sheet music inside of those plastic holders for a 3-ring binder. Probably don't want to do that because you're going to have to take the paper out to make your marks on it. Just let the paper be on right there and a pencil and mark your sheet music up. I promise that's what you're going to want to do. And so keeping your sheet music in your book all nice and neat and tidy, that's not an unworthy goal, but it's not going to work out. Just have it all just paper in your binder. Better to have the 1-inch binders and several of them than one gigantic binder. And really try to don't put stuff in there you're not going to work on. In other words, you don't need to just be carrying songs around for your health. Just keep the stuff in you're working on, and then have a archive folder, and that's usually the stack of papers on your desk, right? Just songs you're not working on right now. My archive is sitting right over here. I am going to work on them. All right, let's play this. Top to bottom, and then top to bottom again. Okay, nice and slow. I'm still, we're not finished with this song. We're going to carry this over into next week. And when you get to these more complex chords, you're going to watch me struggle. You're going to struggle with them, hopefully less than I struggle with them. But I mean, like this chord here, that's not a normal chord. D sustain 4. What? All right, let's give it a try. From the top to the bottom, and then we're going to be done for the week. 1, 2, 3. eventually. I am definitely looking forward to one more week on that. It's a tough one. I think that what happens is I have a tendency to start picking up speed, and then I'll get myself in a little bit of a pickle. And hopefully you're finding that you're just knocking it out, playing it as if it's just this beautiful, soft, sultry melody. And I'm just messing you up, right? All right, that's enough for the week. I'm tired. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay out of the public because the public is dangerous, and we want all of you back here on Monday, healthy and safe. No, not yet. Vic says not quite yet. I haven't quite mastered this thing, so probably Vic and I are ready for one more week of it. On the weekends, right? You're supposed to be doing three things. One, just continuing and practice a little bit. Try to sit down for 5-10 minutes or hours a day, and then be thinking about writing some music too. Don't let whoever wrote these songs be in charge of you. Sometimes you want to pick up 3 chords and figure out what you can do with them and make yourself a little tune. And then, as always, the only way to mark your progress is to put your cell phone, click video record, play what you can, hit stop, put it in a file, and don't listen to it, and then just mark your time. And at some point, 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, you'll listen to that and you'll go, man, I am really gotten a lot better. Or what's more like, if you're me, you're like, God, I used to be terrible, right? And you get better all the time, and that's the nice part about playing an instrument. So, Vic, hope you have a great weekend. Evelyn, thanks for being here. Whoever else hanging out up here, hope you guys are doing great. And again, just be safe and be smart. And I will see all of you back here on Monday, and we'll just keep the process rolling. I have no meaningful changes to the program going forward. We may end up having to adjust the time a little bit when the fall gets here, but I am intending on being here until I'm a great guitar player and until you're a great guitar player. So the two of us together will keep working until we are really killing it. So have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see all of you guys later. Thanks for everything, and be good.